Okay, so we call ourselves AEC Matchmaker. So you can see what it's all about. The keywords you need to know: agile, lean, okay, AEC of course, and then we want to do it top down, and we're also going to do it bottom up. So the problem is that we got like hungry hotspots in the AEC. What are these hotspots? They are construction sites. They need resources. What are these resources that we're talking about? Manpower, for one. Okay. So the problem we have now, many problems, all that in red, right? Inefficiencies, uncertainties, low visibility is like a bloody war out there, right? High dependency on cheap, low-skilled migrant workers. The boys up there, they're not helping the matter either. They're like putting on like the Ministry of Manpower, quotas, levies. Why? Because migrant workers create social problems, maybe, but they also bring diversity, right? So, but this is not political speech, so we'll stick to the hack. But what you need to know is existing quota is that 1:5. They're going to reduce it 1:4.5. Effective, already in place. Next stage, 1:4.5 is going to go down some more, 1:3.5. If you're a contractor, good luck to you. You gotta do something about the screen, man. Okay, solution, right? We want to get lean, we want to get agile, maximize number of sources of supply. Make it even better, we're gonna plan for contingencies. Okay? There's some buzzwords you can see up there, right? Real-time data collection via Smart Nation, Internet of Things, some VR displays from Samsung VR. You also, okay, the last point, mitigate effect of Ministry of Manpower legislation. That's what we just looked at. The tightening of like the migrant worker to Singapore / permanent resident worker ratio. Some guy, if you take him from like Malaysia, he will fall under that. Because what, 51 years ago, we were one big like bloody federation. Okay? So that's our solution concept. Only 3 steps. Okay? 1, we identify the resource. Because we said before, there are many kinds of resources that are in demand at the construction site. Other than workers, we're talking about like plants being heavy plant equipment, dozers, cranes, hoists, all these main contractors that we work with, they don't own that stuff. That's all leased from someone. Okay? And that's how you make margin. If you don't own depreciating assets, okay? And then we got the arrow pointing to data sources. This is stuff that's up on the web for us to use. Smart Nation, APIs everywhere, right? It's just starting, so like we got data from like 2014, 2015. The latest ones are not up there for obvious reasons. Okay, you don't want people to like tracking you all the time, right? It's like privacy issues and all that. We've got a lot big like French crowd over here. So you know, like you don't even have like carte d'identité, do you? Right? And like in the UK, you can't. These things are like privacy issues. Internet of Things. We can also pull data from like sensors. Every migrant worker carrying a smartphone because he got call home on Skype or WeChat his mom. That's a sensor that will connect up to like Internet of Things. And then on our end, we've got AEC Matchmaker in there because we're talking about bottom up. Every one of these sensors in the pockets, they're going to run off of an app, right? We're going to collect a database so that we can rank these workers. People who use the app can rate their services. It's an Uber thing, right? And then we got Google Maps API in there as well because later we'll show you how we are visualizing how distant and how far away these resources are from the hungry hotspots that we're talking about. Okay? So the second step, we got so much shit data. What are we going to do now? We got compute, right? Who's going to do that? Rhino plus Grasshopper and Excel. And then who's going to do the Babelfish of like interoperating? Flux. Third thing, with all this, we got like data visualization, right? So that it's like comprehensible to like people who can't crunch numbers. And they pretty much prefer to look at like nice visuals. Like architects, maybe, or architecturally or design-minded people. So we're going to do that through Rhino and Grasshopper. We'll go show you how we do that. And then that's for the 2D, two-dimensional data visualization. And for the 3D data visualization, that's going to be, we propose that's going to be done through the Samsung VR gear with a Turbo Squid 3D model, retailing for like $499 now, right? And to tie it up all, Flux again. So step one, collect all that data from Smart Nation and all that. You can read that. So what can we get from Smart Nation? Migrant worker dormitory addresses. Okay? The Ministry of Manpower will keep a record of all this stuff. We also, the Manpower Ministry also is very interested in migrant worker population. Why? Because they want to know where he's from, how long he's been in Singapore. They're tracking all these people. Okay? For your information, I think it was last year, under the Internal Security Act, right? What, 30 Bangladeshi workers hauled up because like potential terrorist activities. Okay, how do they know? They're tracking them, right? Third one, demographics, employment pass status. Is that pass still valid? Certification. Is he an unskilled worker? Is he a bricklayer? Is he a plasterer? Okay? All this is important to the ministry. It is also very important to the AEC Matchmaker. Because we're going to collect all that data, put it into the subscriber database, right? We're talking about a bottom-up subscriber. We're also talking about a top-down subscriber, right? The bottom-up is the worker out there. The top-down is all these main contracting guys who need to get in touch with their free roaming migrant workers. So all that you can read up there, right? And also the important bit is like stuff like migrant worker population and individual worker rating and skill sets. There's a second layer of verification because like we all go to like fancy restaurants, and how do you pick and choose? There's so many fancy restaurants in Singapore now. So you want to see like what reviews they've got, right? And then, but can you trust those reviews? I don't trust them. I only trust my friends. Because those reviews are like written by paid bloggers and influencers or what have you, right? So we need a second layer of verification, which is what we're doing here with for the migrant worker population. How do you know like this dormitory has 100 migrant workers just because Ministry of Manpower tells you so? We're going to verify that, cross-verify with the Internet of Things smartphone data, and then we know how many of these subscribers are signed up and in that dormitory. Then you get a more accurate data set. Similarly for the last thing that you see there, skill sets. This guy might say like, I can use a nail gun, I can paint like really quickly, I don't know, put up like I can put up drywall. But does he have the certs? The Smart Nation data will tell me that, because they also keep records of like who is skilled in what and what certs they've gone for, and they've gone for a 5-hour workshop, that kind of thing. Okay? This is the Smart Nation data. We put it off as a Excel spreadsheet. It gives you information like up here. You can see all this is what we call in Singapore BP submission numbers. These are building plan submission numbers. So the BCA, the Building Construction Authority, will have that information. Every job that we start will have this number. Some jobs have 1, big jobs have 4, 5, 6, because sometimes it's in phases for submission purposes, and they all have a project title. Let's read off that one. Additions and alterations and change of use of former 2-story student hostel to nursing home, blah, 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 blah. Then there's a lot number, address, so we know where the geographical location of this site is, right? So there you have it. You have like, you can geolocate all these like trouble hotspots, hungry hotspots, okay? Next. Okay, this is dormitory listing. Hang on. Right, this is what we're talking about. We also, to feed these hungry hotspots, we feed them with manpower. Where's this manpower going to come from? All your dormitories, right? It's all up there. So now step 2, this is the part that we managed to do over yesterday and a bit of today, right? We got We collected some data, we made up some of it, but we knew where we're going to get it from, so that's cool. Then we computed in Grasshopper, some of it, and then Excel, we do some other computation as well, and Flux is the fat one, is like tiny altogether. So this is the, say for example, this is what we work with, right? If I identify a construction site over Hungary hotspot over here, you can see like there's a bit of blue, it's actually a polygon, it's not great on visibility. But around it, we've located also 3 sources of migrant workers, dormitories, that can feed this guy. How big that polygon is defined by how many workers it's demanding, okay? So you can tell by the visual that like, wow, this guy's got like lots of workers, right? This guy's got really little. And the distance, that's not a physical distance. That distance is being generated, being informed by the Google Maps API, okay? So that distance is in terms of seconds. So if this guy has no, this small guy here, who's very close, could actually be really, really far away, but because he's got like a motorway, an expressway route that's like unencumbered, so he's actually placed closer. For people who like have taken the London Tube, you will know, right, that like what you read on the tube map is not reality, and this is what we're talking about. Okay, so you start here. That's the state of your problem, and it's the computation is trying to solve your problem. So it will query which is the best place to pull these workers from, and is that circle big enough to feed this polygon, right? So that has been identified. So it's going to pull it all from there, okay? And so you can see this circle has become smaller, and that has become smaller as well. So the point of the game is to make that polygon disappear. Endpoint achieved. That has come down, that has disappeared. We're going to show you the demo, okay? Before we go to this step.
Yeah, maybe we should go. You're running out of time. Actually.
Okay. Should we show you the step 3? Step 3 is just like all that's been done through Grasshopper and Flux, and the guy who's going to watch all this from a mission control room is your main contractor. With the Gear VR goggles, he can see the 3-dimensional data and representation of that from all the Smart Nation data and all that we talked about before, right? And on the other hand, he's going to look at the analyzed data as a 2D thing. It could be floating somewhere in the same environment as well. Okay, so I think that's it. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
You want to show a demo?
Yep.
Okay. So this worksheet here is actually simulating all the available workforce that we collected from other remote part. And this sheet here simulates a work request that put up some main contractor. And in case that they want to change the location, they can just change the postal code here. And this sheet is actually simulating the remote server and retrieving all the data through Flux into this local server, and then do all the calculation and pump up all the feasible solutions. Actually here we only pump up one optimized one. Let's say here I change the head count is maybe I need 200 people, and here I change the work set maybe to this set, and by clicking this enter, this one will retrieve all the travel data through API to Google Maps and calculate all the feasible solutions and choose the shortest travel time one, so that this is our final decision. So we can actually feed this one to Flux. And then you can, from the web service, you can just retrieve the data from anywhere. The first key is actually our solution, this key. So this is our working prototype.
Cool.
Yeah, that's all.